Ladies and gentlemen, there was a moment in my life when I knew things had to change. Not gradually, immediately. I had hit a wall. Not just financially or emotionally, but mentally. Everything felt like it was collapsing. And then something shifted. It wasn't a course, a job, or some secret formula. It was a mindset, a way of thinking so powerful it didn't just change my life, it restarted it. This mindset was simple, but radical. I am responsible for everything. That's it. No more blaming, no more waiting, no more excuses. I stopped outsourcing control of my life to others, circumstances, society, past trauma, or luck. I realized I can't change the world around me until I change the world within me. And when that clicked, my energy changed. My circle changed. My results changed. My results changed. That's the power of a shifted mindset. It creates a ripple effect. The moment you take full ownership, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start leading. You stop doubting and start deciding. Radical ownership is the moment you stop blaming anything or anyone outside yourself for your situation. It's the decision to take complete responsibility for your thoughts, actions, results, and even your failures. It doesn't mean everything is your fault, but it does mean everything is your responsibility. This mindset transforms your life because it removes the illusion of helplessness. When you own your choices, you regain control. Instead of saying they hurt me, you ask, why did I allow that? Instead of complaining, I never get a break, you say, what can I do differently to create opportunities? It shifts your focus from external problems to internal solutions. When you adopt radical ownership, there's no one left to wait on, no savior, no perfect timing, no lucky break. You become your own breakthrough. People might say life isn't fair, and often it's not. But ownership isn't about fairness. It's about freedom. The freedom to choose your response, the freedom to evolve, the freedom to grow even in the dark. Once you stop outsourcing blame, you stop outsourcing your power. That's when progress starts. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Radical ownership isn't easy, but it's the gateway to change. A no-excuse policy means you stop giving yourself permission to stay the same. It's a mental contract that says, no matter what happens, I take action. Excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort, risk, or responsibility. They sound reasonable. I don't have time. I wasn't born into the right family. I'm not ready yet. But behind every excuse is fear disguised as logic. When you eliminate excuses, you remove the barriers that keep you trapped in place. You stop letting your circumstances write your future. You start showing up even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, even when you're scared. This mindset doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It builds progress with what's available. You stop asking for easy and start embracing discipline. You understand that results don't come from ideal situations. They come from relentless decisions. A no-excuse policy forces you to confront your own patterns, your own habits, and your own distractions. It puts the spotlight on your daily choices and reveals the gap between your goals and your behavior. Most people want success, but not everyone is willing to drop their excuses. Those who refuse to explain away their potential rise faster. They gain clarity, momentum, and trust in themselves. When you stop making excuses, you start building results. Excuses are comfortable lies. Growth is an uncomfortable truth. One moves you in circles, the other moves you forward. The difference between stuck and successful is often one decision. No more excuses. Once that shift is made, everything changes, not because the world changes, but because you've finally chosen to meet it head on, with full accountability and zero negotiation. Decide, don't delay, because hesitation is the silent killer of dreams. Too many people wait for the perfect time, the perfect feeling, or the perfect plan before they make a move. But clarity doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. When you delay decisions, you feed doubt. Your mind becomes a battlefield of a what-if and second guesses. But when you decide, you create momentum. One clear choice cuts through confusion and brings everything into focus. Even if it's not perfect, taking action gives you feedback. It shows you what works, what doesn't, and what to adjust. Delaying only guarantees that nothing changes. Deciding means committing before you're ready. It's trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. Most people are stuck not because they lack talent, but because they lack decisiveness. Life rewards the bold, not the hesitant. A single decision can shift your entire direction. It can open doors you didn't even know existed, but you won't see them if you keep standing still. Action creates options. Delay breeds regret. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide that staying the same is no longer acceptable, and then move now. Pain is data. It's the body and mind's way of signaling that something needs attention, adjustment, or growth. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs, treating it like an enemy. But in reality, pain is a messenger. It doesn't come to destroy, it comes to inform. Whether it's emotional, physical, or mental, pain carries feedback. It tells you where you're weak, where you've tolerated too much, or where you've ignored truth for too long. When you start seeing pain as information instead of punishment, your entire perspective changes. You begin to ask better questions. Instead of a why is this happening to me, you ask, what is this trying to teach me? That shift turns suffering into strategy. It allows you to grow wiser, not just wounded. Pain highlights your boundaries, your patterns, and your blind spots. It shows you what matters and what must change. The most powerful breakthroughs often come wrapped in discomfort. Growth rarely feels good in the moment, but it always makes sense later. The key is to stop numbing it and start studying it. Pain can be a map to a stronger version of you, if you're willing to listen. Every setback carries a signal. Every ache holds an answer. Change doesn't start with what you do. It starts with who you believe you are. Identity drives behavior. When your actions don't align with your self-image, they don't last. That's why people struggle to stay consistent. They're trying to act like someone they don't believe they are. Real transformation happens when you shift your identity first. Instead of saying, I want to be disciplined, you declare, I am disciplined. From that belief, your actions begin to flow naturally. You don't force yourself to show up. You show up because it matches who you are. This is why habits stick when they come from identity, not obligation. If you see yourself as a creator, you create. If you see yourself as strong, you face hard things. Identity becomes the internal compass guiding every decision. The key is to choose your identity intentionally, not based on your past or your environment. You rewrite the story you tell yourself because that story shapes your future. Once you define who you are, the actions become less of a struggle and more of a reflection. You don't act to prove something. You act because it's simply who you are. Behavior becomes effortless when it's aligned with belief. Gratitude is more than just saying a thank you. It's a mindset that transforms how you see your life, your challenges, and your opportunities. When you operate from gratitude, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's already working. It doesn't mean you ignore pain or ambition. It means you anchor yourself in what's real and valuable right now. Gratitude gives you emotional strength because it reminds you that even in the struggle, you have something to stand on. It fuels resilience by keeping your heart full, even when your hands are still building. People who practice gratitude don't wait for big wins to feel alive. They find energy in the small things: breath, progress, effort, growth. That perspective builds momentum. When you're grateful, you're not bitter. You're not entitled. You're not stuck in comparison. You're focused on possibilities. Gratitude keeps you grounded when life gets chaotic, and it lifts your vision when things feel dark. It's the fuel that powers persistence because it reminds you that you're already blessed and therefore capable of more. Instead of chasing from a place of lack, you pursue from a place of abundance. Gratitude doesn't slow you down. It energizes you with purpose, clarity, and quiet confidence. So what changed my life wasn't luck, a miracle, or a perfect plan. It was a decision, a mindset shift that said, I'm done waiting, I'm done blaming, I'm done doubting. From that moment forward, I chose ownership over excuses, action over hesitation, and growth over comfort. And that choice, it rewired everything. You don't need more time. You need a mindset that refuses to go back. Because the moment you change how you think is the moment everything else follows. The power to change your life has always been in you, but it starts with one mindset and the courage to live by it, starting now.